I'm going to tell about Sister Anaclee. Well, we were in 7th or 8th grade, and we girls used to pretend we were putting makeup on at lunchtime, after we ate lunch. And Margaret Kellens and I, she graduated with us, we would put the makeup on, and then we would scrub it off. And we, our first class in the afternoon was with Sister Anaclee, over in the new building, So maybe that was 8th grade. And we must have left a little makeup on because Sister Anaclee said, Kathleen, I'm going to let you and Margaret go and freshen your makeup. Oh. We had to leave the room and put makeup on and come back. Oh, we never did it again. We never did it again. But we liked that nun. She was a nifty, rude gal. Yeah. Well, we never did it again.
You were a heller. The reasons they had 2 graduations a year followed the city of Minneapolis was formed. And they had, you registered in the fall, and then you graduated in June. If you registered in the wintertime, you graduated in the wintertime on graduation year. And that went on for a long, long time. And if you went from Incarnation into a private school, you had to go to summer school and make up a half a year to fit in with the private school's graduation, which only took place in June.
Okay.
He was going to be transferred from Incarnation to start Resurrection. And I remember at our class, children had to go to 9 o'clock Mass on Sunday. And when he was saying goodbye to us, we were all crying because we love Father Sheehy. Yeah, and he left. You remember that?
I don't remember the bawling.
This was after grade school.
Come on.
But after grade school, they had holy hour on Sunday night. And they walked over.
Catherine, you got a story?
I did have.
What happened to
And I'd walk over there to holy hour at 7 o'clock Sunday night. And it was over one night. It was pouring rain. It was coming down in buckets. And Father O'Sullivan had the holy hour. And he came out and he said, we were standing there to see if the rain was let up. And finally he said, I'd see if I can find a car. Those days the assistant priests didn't have cars. Father Moynihan had his big Packard there. And so he went over to the house and came back with the Packard. He piled as many of us as could get into the car to take us home. And one lady said to him, she says, it's such a pleasure to get a ride. And he said, I really appreciate it, Father. Oh, he says, I only wish your home was in Robbinsdale.
And I particularly remember, was it Margaret, and she always like this, under the, here's the thing, and then she walked up and down the thing, looking over what you were doing, and if you crossed her, God forbid, I tell you, you'd shake in your boots and you'd do anything to do what she wanted you to do. And then, of course, when you got out of class, you were, but anyway, I don't know how classes are today, but I would say there were very few people in class who would talk back to any of the sisters. They just, I mean, they expected that they would be taught. They would be taught, they could teach it, and by golly, they were going to do it, and you just sat there and did it. And then you talked about it after you got out of school. For some of the kids were so smart, it didn't make much difference. They would have gotten anything. They used to line you up for music, and they'd always put, they'd test you for music and how you could sing and all that sort of stuff. Well, I always ended up in the back seat, which was the good seat. I must have had a pretty good voice. And in 9th grade, I went over to Bryan Junior High, and they did the same thing, and they put me in the front seat, which meant I didn't have any voice at all.
In the winter, the snow piled up very high at everybody's door, and we had these little sidewalks that went out to the curb, and there'd be like a mountain of snow on each side. So we walked back and forth to school on the top of the snowbank, and slid down on down a ski chute, and then climbed the next one, and we did that all the way to school. And so walking to school in the winter was a pleasure.
Sure.
35th and Pillsbury. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, he lived safely away, far away.
My dad would say to me, "How come it takes you so long to walk to and from school?" Well, I said, because it took a longer time. They sent home our report card every month, and I can remember that when my dad signed it, he had to put $1 bill in the envelope and send it back. I bet that was the tuition.
She was a big woman.
Well, she was great. She taught us art. She came once a week. Otherwise they were all nuns.
Before they had the new,
How about that one?
Remember, she weighed about 2 pounds.
before they had the new school building, which is right across from the church, west of the church, there was an old house there that they bought up. And it was kind of gutted, and they used that for, we had Phi Ed for a few years in there.
That was Dr.
And teacher, Mr. Pink was the Phi Ed teacher, his wife Mrs. Pink taught the girls. For Phi Ed, I think you do exercises. But all you could do was calisthenics and stuff like that. Before that, you didn't have anything. The assistant priests who were there when we were there, after the war, went on to establish parishes in the city. Father Ryan started Blessed Sacrament in St. Paul. Father Buchanan did Rosa Lima in St. Paul. I think it was Father O'Sullivan actually who was the first pastor at Resurrection. A visitation, that was it.
Yeah, visitation.
Father Phelan went out to Crystal later on.
Used to assign us older boys Mass next week through the confessional. He seemed to know all of us. St. Joe served 6:30 next week.
During Lent, the confessionals were busy every day of the week. They'd hear confessions in the morning while the morning mass was going on. Remember, you'd always see lines of 2 or 3 or 4 of the different confessionals. And I remember one morning in Lent, one weekday morning, I was in mass, and Father Sheehy had someone apparently in his confessional, and they came out. I heard him. I could hear him. He slam his little swipe that he had in his window, and he says, "Don't come back. You were just here last week, and don't come back till you've got something to confess."